So once upon a time, I reviewed a speaker from CSS called the 3TD-X. Now, despite what's on my thing, yeah man, YouTubers, they're all bought off, they only give good reviews. The owner of CSS, Carrie, told me, yeah, you know what, my review wasn't exactly the glowing love letter they hoped for. Yet plot twist, they still appreciate the video because it was my honest opinion, and it actually helped them sell a few speakers. So in that review, as always, I just reported what my ears heard. No bribes, no secret handshakes, just pure unfiltered Thomas. The 3TD-X, to me, lives on the dark side of neutral. If you're sensitive to bright speakers, or you want your music smooth and sultry, rather than dissected and analyzed, the 3TD-X is your jam. Now, but for those who know me, I'm a vocal fanboy. I want treble that sparkles so much it hurts my eyes just by listening to the speakers. So I secretly wish the 3TD-X had a sharper top end. Now here is my issue. People seem to care a lot about whether I like something or not. But come on, let's be real. My taste in speakers should matter to you about as much as my taste in apples. If you love musical speakers like the 3TD-X, don't let my analytical preference sway you. Okay, here's where it gets interesting. So after that review, I got to hear the 1TD-X at my audio buddy's place. Let's play this time the bookshelf one. And guess what? Not dark, it's not rolled off. I started questioning my sanity. Did I mess up my review? Maybe the 1TD-X with less bass sounds more revealing on the top end. And also the fact that he had $30,000 of gear driving that bookshelf speaker, that might help a bit. So they sounded so good that I almost accidentally walked out with them. So fast forward to today, and Carrie from CSS emailed me. Hey, do you want to review the 3TD-X? I was expecting a restraining order, not an invitation. Hey, you have to respect that. It takes guts to ask for honest feedback and then come back for more. That's how you know they're serious about making great products. Here's the elevator pitch for those new to CSS. They sell speaker kits, you buy the kit, then you get to play mad scientist and build the speakers yourself. The 3TD-X is their floor standard, and compared to the 2TD-X, it has an extra woofer. The kit starts at $2,000 and climbs depending on your taste for fancy parts such as better capacitor, well, more expensive capacitors. And trust me, I have enough capacitors at my home to build a small spaceship. I can confirm that different brands sound different. More expensive doesn't always mean better, so trust your ears, not the price tag. CSS, they pick Janssen capacitors. They're pretty good. Probably, well, also they probably heard it in the speaker, so, you know, that's why they chose that brand. Now, changing capacitors brand with the same value won't budge the measurements, but your ears might love you for upgrading. So let's not open that can of worms today. Capacitor debates are just as interesting as cable debates. Now, to save time, let me post the specs here or here. And the key specs to pay attention to is its sensitivity is 87.8 dB. It's a foam speaker and weighs about 70 pounds assembled. It is a three-way speaker, and the in-room response is crazy, 20 hertz to 20 kilohertz. So the second I power up the 3TD-X, you know what? I'm going to just call it the CSS now. I prayed, please don't let it join the dark side. 3.4 seconds later, and yeah, okay, so this doesn't sound like the 2TD-X, but more like the 1TD-X on the top end. It sparkles, and there's sharpness and detail. I like it. So what stands out with this speaker? First is the bass. Your neighbors will hate you. The bass on this CSS speaker, just like the 2TD-X, is absolutely bonkers, man. If you ever wanted to rattle your floor and have the neighbors file noise complaints before you finish your first track, yeah man, the 3TD-X is here to make your dreams come true. This is the first time I ever wished for a 1000 watt Class D amp in my house. Why? Because the more power you feed it, the more the bass goes from wow to holy cow. When I switch from a 100 watt Class AB amp to a 300 watt Class D amp, man, the punch was so intense that I was shocked. I mean, it's a knock your teeth out type of punch. I could only imagine if I had a 1000 watt Class D amp. You know, a speaker designer friend once told me, bass makes people smile. And that's why he designed speakers with bass, so much bass to the point that you don't even need a subwoofer. And guess what? He listened to my speakers and he preferred these CSS speakers over my own reference speakers, the Silverline Sonata. So if you love bass, nuanced, deep, and powerful bass, man, these are your new best friends. The second thing that will catch your attention is the mid-range presence. If it is very present, it is interesting because it's kind of forward, but not enough to get shouty. There is detail and sharpness in the mid-range. Not bright, but attention-grabbing. So there's a test track that I played, Lean on Me by Music Travel Love. You can find it on YouTube. So once you reach the 1 minute mark, you get all 5 singers singing together simultaneously. And if you play that track on the KEF R300 Meta, that part will get too shouty. So I expected the CSS to be shouty at that point, but it was not. So it was a pleasant surprise that this speaker has a lot of presence in the mid-range and still could survive that track. Now, this strong mid-range should appeal to a large group of audiophiles. Now, the advantage here is you get to hear a lot of information in the mid-range, like guitar plugs and stuff like that. Now, the last thing that will catch your attention is that this is a full body sounding speaker. It will never sound lean or thin. Pair it with a lean sounding Class D amp and will still sound full. If you define warm sounding as having a little extra oomph in the upper bass, then man, this is a warm sounding speaker. Next, what must you be aware of when buying these speakers? Okay, I would have liked them to have a beryllium tweeter option for the kit because I tend to favor that kind of tweeter, which I find more refined. Sure, it might raise the price by another $1,000. Hey man, but you only live once. Now, I don't want you to misunderstand me. Yes, the current CSS tweeter, the one that's in this speaker, can sparkle and dish out details satisfyingly. Second, if you're looking for a romantic laid-back mid-range, just go buy a Harbeth. However, if you bought the CSS and would like to get that kind of smooth mid-range, it is possible, but you must carefully match the amplifier because by nature, this is a speaker with a strong mid-range presence. Now, I personally prefer a laid-back presentation, so I tried different amps to achieve that. And when I plugged in my Galion TS A20, that's a Class A smooth 20 watt amp, I was shocked at how smooth these speakers can be in the mid-range. So my point is, it is not one of those speakers with a mid-range that is like relaxed and smooth, but it is still possible to get it to sound that way. Third, you want a good amp to keep the bass in check. Now these speakers, man, they sound okay with low power amp, but you want something with some muscle to let the bass shine. So let's wrap it up. The 3TD-X will make many people smile, and the bass performance alone will blow away many people. The strong bass performance helps create this great soundstage, and the sharpness of the tweeter, not overly sharp, makes everything nicely defined in the soundstage. Now, the 3TD-X for me feels like an American muscle car where you have unlimited power. Now, I wish I had a more powerful amp at home to push these speakers to the limit. But even with lower power amps, they still sound great. The biggest appeal? Hey man, you get to build them yourself. And I gotta say, there's something magical about that. So with that, I will see you next time, and may the bass be with you.
I never think, I never know. I'm stuck and left alone. I've been lost, I've been fine. My cause is not defined.